Now, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
And congratulations
Thank
for
you.
the last night.
Thank
we
you
have
very
a
much.
grand ceremony. And
Yes,
so
yes.
how did you feel?
Well, the experience was most impressive, but also overwhelming. You had the beautiful surroundings, you had many people, and you had royalty. I'm not used to being in the presence of royalty, the king and the queen. So it was quite an impressive experience.
Indeed, I covered Stockholm Water Week for 10 years, and I don't remember the king speak so long.
Yes.
And it's like the first time he speak, very impressive
Yes,
also for this.
I heard that he didn't usually speak at the ceremony,
Right.
and that he decided he wanted to speak at the ceremony this time, so that was quite an honor. I don't think it was because of me, but I think his interest in water and the environment is growing.
Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. I think water is, everybody knows it's important, but in reality, when you do it, there is a lot of actually difficulties or things. So
Exactly, yes.
yeah, so we'd like to hear your story actually. How did you begin with this, we say innovative and also very new sort of international water law?
Yes. Well, I became interested in water when I was a child. We used to go to the mountains in the summers, and my father and I would fish in the streams, which were beautiful. You know, we would drink out of them. We would enjoy them. And then when I was 11 years old, I joined the Boy Scouts, and every summer we would have a camp up in the mountains for 4 weeks, and we were camping out on this big lake, and we cooked with the water, we washed with the water, we drank the water, we swam in the water, we boated on the water. It's a miraculous substance, and so obviously, I mean, water touches everyone in some way, and we rely on it, obviously. So I was always very interested in water. And
in America, I don't think you have a sort of big issue with transboundary, but you expand that to international level and study the transboundary sort of water issue. So how did that come up?
You know, we actually do, within the United States, have issues between states of the United States concerning water. And the U.S. Supreme Court, our highest court, has decided a number of cases involving disputes between states over shared water. Rivers usually, sometimes groundwater, but usually rivers that flow from one to another. And so we have a lot of experience, really, with that kind of thing. And we also have two neighboring countries. Fortunately, we have very good relations with both of them, Mexico and Canada. But we had a big dispute in the 1950s with Canada over the Columbia River. And, of course, it never came close to war because we're too close for that. But it was a very serious dispute, which we finally resolved in a treaty. And the treaty...
That's interesting.
Yeah,
How did you solve that?
Well, we solved it actually by agreeing to share benefits from the river. And the United States compensated Canada for constructing some dams in Canada to prevent flooding in the United States and to make the flow of the rivers, the tributaries, and the main Columbia River into the United States more regular, which meant that we could produce more power in the United States. And the United States paid Canada for that, for those two benefits. And that's very oversimplified, but it was basically that system. So it illustrated how you can get a lot more from cooperation than you can from conflict, because if you're arguing all the time, neither country benefits.
But that's always the most difficult part, because United States think, okay, I'm willing to pay to solve this issue.
That's right, that's right. And Canada, for its part, was willing to build dams on the upper parts of the Columbia River mainly for the benefit of the United States in return for compensation. And the compensation made sense to the United States because that meant that more power could be produced in the United States and provided to people and others who use the electricity there, and that generates revenue that can be used to pay Canada for the benefits.
So you create jobs for Canada and then create energy for you.
You create energy, which also stimulates the economy. You know, it has benefits for both countries, and many of the benefits have nothing to do with water.
But you also experience a lot of international cases.
Yes.
Actually, I know you like Pakistan, India, or Latin America, or
Yes.
Africa.
Yes.
Can you give another international example in this water issue?
Well, yes, all of those cases, any of them can be an example, but I think the benefit of having the availability of a third party to assist countries in resolving their disputes is that you get a resolution. It's not always exactly what one country or the other would have hoped for, but it's a resolution. And then, so you have peace, you know what the situation is, you can plan on the basis of that. It's so much more preferable than having uncertainty, unpredictability, instability. Countries don't like that. People don't like that. We like to know what to expect, right?
So you don't like to think like Chinese people will think, we wait and see. We wait for maybe next generation to solve this issue.
Mm-hmm.
But in your point of view, you think we should solve it now.
Well, yes, it depends, of course, on the issue. Some issues can't wait to be resolved because they, well, if nothing else, they may affect the relations between the countries involved. And that's not good, to have some irritant, in your relations. It's like getting something stuck in my clothes, and I want it to go away. And so it's easier to resolve it, even though you might know you won't get everything you want. At least it's resolved. Now we know what the situation is. Certainty, predictability, all of those kinds of things are qualities that humans appreciate. And what are countries? They're collections of humans. And so countries feel pretty much the same way. Exactly when you resolve, these are matters to be decided by the countries themselves. But in practice, I think generally one can say that countries have appreciated having these irritants removed, even if the outcome isn't the ideal outcome as far as you're concerned. You're willing to sacrifice something just to remove that irritant.
Actually, I was so impressed in America. There's a film about this water and a law firm. It's by Julie Robert, who performed. It's called Brockovich.
Yeah, Aaron Brockovich.
Yes,
right. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
It was so impressive
It
with that.
was very impressive.
You think this water law coming sort of from that period has something to do with that?
It's not directly related, but that film shows how bringing things to light can help to resolve them.
The law can sort of play a role water treatment and
can play a role. That's right.
And press the companies to really.
Yes. But if there's no public knowledge of these things, there's no incentive on the part of, in that case, it was pollution. Right, on the part of the polluter to do anything about it. But as soon as it comes to light, we say that sunshine is the best cure, because when you bring things out into the sunshine, then everyone can see what's happening, And the sunshine, the fact that it's well known publicly, will both alert people to the fact this is happening and give an incentive to the responsible party to fix whatever the situation is.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Then I'm not an expert in international law, but I think you are the champion of this international water law.
Mm.
So do you think, is there anything we should continue to complete, or what's the future?
The future is closer cooperation. That's really the future. And the question is, what's the vehicle to lead countries to ever greater cooperation? And one answer to that, not the only answer, but one answer is agreements that countries enter into, like the UN Watercourses Convention, like the ECE Water Convention, because that provides a vehicle, that provides a forum where countries can meet, discuss common problems. I might say, I'm having trouble with this aspect. You might say, oh, okay, we confronted that 5 years ago, and here's what we did. So exchanging information on solutions to common problems is a very helpful thing. But generally, closer cooperation is, I think, the future, and that's what we should aim for and strive for.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.